Y'all seen these old cowboy movies? You go to the bar, nigga, you about to get tried. You go out and about, you got that drink, you about to get tried out here, but don't be caught lacking. Don't kill your brother off some bullshit, man. Don't hurt your people, man. It's just for protection only, man. I got family out this bitch, man. I got brothers out this bitch. I gotta protect. Somebody trying to run up on us. We lacking. What we gonna do? Fight a nigga with a machine gun? Now we're gonna bust your ass. We'll cut your head out and bring it back to the Lord, man. UPK shit, man. Hey, fam. Say I got way too much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock, I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up, coming fast, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me. I pull up with lines. I'm a judo with a nigga pride, I'm just like a lion. My woman cook, clean, fuck, and shut the fuck up, yeah. I got bigger problems to worry about than you in adultery. But shit, you know you ain't going nowhere. Hey, taking my move with the bass. Try to walk to the place. Ice on me, come and skate. You really hoe wanna escape. Yeah, we up, fish your face. Or outwork me, what you think? Pretty girl, good taste. Wanna know all my traits. You know I'm on attention. I'm James Brown, then the Israel. Bullets long, yeah, extensions. The nigga hate what they mention. I pull up how I'm gifted. I'm Mike Jackson with the fisting. Beat it like I'm Thriller. She say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence. Say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing. I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock. I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up. Coming fast, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, bitch, you basic. If you don't want a South Coast nigga, you chasing ranking. And really, you ain't even damn exquisite, and bitch, you faking. Wanna rush a dog sick nigga, and the picture I painted. And I mean, everywhere I say T, might give you some flavor. But I guess you ain't even wanna take it, bitch, you outdated. And you done gave it up for some paper, you just like your main man. Start with 3 damn baby daddies, spit what you thinking. You were thinking with your damn bars, huh? You the type motherfucker wanna pull up, how the fuck when it fall, huh? Then beat it from the back, no damn attack, it was just for lunch, huh? Dirty damn bot pussy bitch, wanna talk shit on the low, huh? Wanna diss everybody with, cause you don't even know how they say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock. I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up. Coming fast, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, dance. I'm low, trying to get right with the preacher, probably on the low, huh? What the fuck you talking about, girl? You already know what the fuck we on, huh? We ain't passing down, bitch, but you get right, what you already know, huh?
All right, this is Rude Speech, man. We got Captain Tywar in the building. Yeah. So, Cap, man, let us know where you from.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, man, on Rude Speech, man. Understand, I'll break it down right quick,
Don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I finish, one West when I start. Big shine, big glow. I be gone till November, let my bitch know. I'm back by the winter, bubbling like Crisco. I need my pockets all swollen like a lymph node. Talking out the side of your neck, get you a slit throat. I stay broke, don't care if I got a million. Looking down on me, I put your brains on the ceiling. Fuck kicking down the door, we bout to demo the building. These fake cats all in these groups, I wonder who ya. Shoot ya off your pulpit, hallelujah. 4-pound gun youngin' down like it's a cougar. On my feet, combat boots, or is it Puma? Words spreading around about me, none of it rumor. All truth, very big facts, very large caliber on very small gaps, compact pistols, ladders, and all that. About to throw the switch in the Nina for rapid fire. Got the 5.7 equipped with the magnifier. Boom shakalaka equipped with the rim rocker. We ain't really got beef, yeah, Ramak would have been shot you. The best rhymer since Pac and Big Papa. Big Llama, Big I'm Big Jamba, quarter tank of gas, I ride like a big timer. No informer, no some my conglomerate, wreck like King Kong. No Asian pun me, no chink in armor. Remain calm through our pain that bring drama. Stay focused on things that bring commas. Took all pressure, applied and made diamonds. Stayed true, kept shit pure, my name honored. Paid all dues and debts and kept promise. Make sure you show respect, pay homage. That I'm one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I said I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I'm the hottest on the market, don't make me start it. I'ma pull up in a Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I remember days was trapping out the apartment. Now one West about put me up in a starship. About to fly the friendly skies in this bitch. Spit the truth on the corners, I lie a little bit. I'm a stand-up nigga, I die before I switch. Down or we up, I'm cool with who I with. I'ma be war the king and stay dangerous. Hold down the biz and fam, remain blameless. Now rappers drippy with styles we made famous. First with studs and spikes in any city. Designers charge a stack for shit that can't fit me. Had fringes on my coattail way before Jimmy. Funny how the general ain't even see a penny. Better show respect, get smoked like a chimney. Keep my name out your mouth, don't even think it. Send a real Smith at y'all, no Jada Pinkett. Both ball heads, my grain a $1.50. Lost my man to the game, that pain that stuck with me. Had to find a cheat code to the street though, cause them niggas getting foul, shoot you like a free throw. Keep spitting acid like a Mino, and a nigga be the nicest with a mean flow. Try to ride my wave, you gon' need a speedboat. I'm hot like 100 degrees in a peacoat. Scarf in the sweater, I embark every letter. It's UPK, not a part, but together. Homie, I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I'm finished, one West when I start. One West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I'm finished, one West.
Shalom Israel. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Barakatham Yahweh Shemal Tham Bashim Yahweh Shah. This is ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. We teach the truth about the Bible. The truth being the so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indians are the true chosen people of God, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, and all oppressed of the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks. Now you tuned in. Precinct officer of 1,000, Howard Moore, ISUPK, Kentucky, Maine. And tonight and every Monday, Lord willing, is our Monday night history class. Now, before we get off into it, y'all want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, or North American Indian to tune into our weekly content. All right, Monday, history class taught by yours truly. Tuesday night, brotherhood class taught by Officer of 1,000, I'm a Wonga boy. And Wednesday night is the podcast. All right, the baddest podcast around, the baddest podcast in Kentucky, Maine. Cry Out, Spare Not podcast, hosted by officers of 1,000, I'm a Wonga boy, and ISUPK. And come here, the biblical breakdown. Come here, the biblical solution to all the viral videos, all of the viral videos across the internet. Come and get your whole timeline broke down, man. So Monday night history class, Tuesday night brotherhood, Wednesday night is a podcast. And before we get into it, I want to shout out Fayetteville, North Carolina, real quick. All right, the Carolina Colt Classic Cookout. All right, this weekend is going down, hosted by Commander General Yohana and the ISUPK. Let's go ahead and get it. Monday night history class. Tonight's topic is, who's the real criminal and the truth about crime statistics. All right, who is the real criminal and the truth about crime statistics? Because look, I'm sick and tired of hearing about how so-called Blacks and Hispanics are violent, about so-called Black and Hispanic men commit all the crimes. All right. We finna put the smack down on that tonight. All right, we finna bury that myth tonight. And I'm finna show y'all, and I'm finna prove, all right, with the receipts on who is the real criminal in the earth. Who is the real criminal in the earth, especially in North America. All right, the topic of tonight's class is, who are the real criminals and the truth about crime statistics. And as usual, this is going to be dropped. You can't get nowhere else besides the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. If it's not 1 West, if it's not UPK, if it's not under Commander General Yohana, you are not in the truth. All right? So let's first get into the beginning of it. Let's go all the way back. All right, this is a history class. All right, Transportation Act 1717 was the act of Parliament of Great Britain that established a regulated bonded system to transport criminals to colonies in North America for indentured service. All right, the origin of the 13 colonies, all right, deals with the transport of Great Britain's criminals into North America to be used for indentured service. All right, as a punishment for those convicted or attained in Great Britain. All right, the origin of the 13 colonies that later became the United States. All right, it was a place to transport criminals to. All right, to bring indentured servants to North America. All right, whereas in many of His Majesty's colonies and plantations in America, there's a great want of servants who by their hard labor and industry might make the means of improving and making the said colonies and plantations more useful to this nation. All right, over the next 6 decades, the 1717's acts use of its American colonies to transport convicts and others help supply the much needed colonial labor, which in turn increased its production and benefited the realm as a whole. England transported its convicts and political prisoners, as well as prisoners of war from Scotland and Ireland, to its overseas colonies in the Americas until the early American Revolution in 1776. All right, so from 1717 to 1776, All right, the 13 colonies was a dumping ground for Great Britain's criminal class. All right, the underbelly of society, as they like to call it. All right, America was a dumping ground for the convicted criminals of Great Britain. All right, the topic of tonight's class is who is the real criminal and the truth about crime statistics. All right, Britain used North America as a penal colony. Convicts would be transported by private companies and sold by auction to plantation owners. About 50,000 British convicts were sent to colonial America. This was about 1/4 of the British settlers in the 1700s. All right, 25% of these British settlers in North America in the 1700s were convicted criminals. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in for a minute. It says that 25%, 1/4 of all of the British settlers in colonial America in the 1700s were convicted criminals. What does that mean today? That means that white people today in America are descended from convicted criminals. All right? White people in America today are descended from convicted criminals. All right? Since we're talking about who the real criminal is. Let's walk. Now we see a few of these criminals in chains. Right? You see the white boy here with the chains on. All right. These people came here as convicted criminals, worked on plantations in the 13 colonies to work off their sentence. And it said 25% of the colonists in colonial America were convicted criminals. What does that mean? That means that white people today are descended from convicted criminals in colonial America. Now, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to project their criminality onto us. They're going to try to project their inferiority onto us. And this is how they do it. This is a quote from Charles Darwin. At some future period, not very distant as measured by centuries, the civilized races of man will almost certainly exterminate and replace throughout the world the savage races. So what's the first thing they try to do? They try to make us look like savages to the rest of the world. All right, these convicted criminals, Great Britain's convicted criminals, they got shipped to the Americas to work out indentured servitude. All right. They try to make the world look at us as savage. Look what they said about the North American Indian. It says Indians inhabiting this country were fierce savages. All right. These people try to project their inferiority on us, and they try to project their criminality on us. All right. It says how Darwinism influenced Hitler, Nazism, and white nationalism. It says, look into the world at no very distant date, where the endless number of the lower races will have been eliminated by the higher civilized races of the world. All right. They project their inferiority onto us. And then they try to project their criminality onto us. All right. They used to believe, and they still do today. All right, it says 1887, but if you look down here at the bottom, it says printed in 1996. All right, you still have white supremacists in 2025 that believe that crime is a natural phenomenon for Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. Again, these people try to project their inferiority on us and try to project their criminality on us. Now they come up with plots and plans to get it done. All right, what was the war on poverty? All right, the man of the house rule. All right, the man in the house rule sought to enforce social norms about who was morally deserving of welfare. Specifically, the rules prevented adult males from residing with the mothers and children who received assistance. All right, this is what they tried to do during the civil rights era, when they tried to destroy the black household. All right, the rules sought to ensure only women with children benefited from welfare. Households with an adult male were viewed as undeserving of assistance because adult males were expected to provide for their families through work. All right, the man in the house rules forced many families to choose between maintaining support and keeping their families intact. All right, this was the destruction of the black household. And this immediately followed integration. All right, the war on poverty immediately followed the Civil Rights Bill and integration. Now, what did that bring? One generation removed from taking fathers out of the home, now we have feminism being introduced to black women. All right, one generation of men being put out of the home, one generation later, we have feminism being introduced to black women by a white she-devil named Gloria Steinem. But what they don't tell you is that Gloria Steinem was an agent. All right, Gloria Steinem's new book, My Life on the Road, recounts her life's journeys and travels. Early reviews and profiles reveal a credible detail of Steinem's barrier-breaking feminist role, liberal politics, romances, proclivities, and style. What is often missed or mischaracterized, however, is the work she did as a CIA agent. All right, feminism was introduced to black women by a CIA agent. And you don't think white folks is the devil? Feminism was introduced to black women by a CIA agent. But we still don't believe the white people are the devil. All right, topic of tonight's class is who's the real criminals and the truth about crime statistics. That's what. All right, 1979, September 6th. We feel that we must respond to the latest in a series of attempts to suppress inquiry into the details and nature of Gloria Steinem's association with the Central Intelligence Agency. All right, feminism was introduced to black women by the CIA. One generation after, men were being put out of the house by the man in the house rule. All right, this was the destruction of the black household, and it immediately followed the Civil Rights Movement and the Civil Rights Bill. Now, let's talk about our children. All right, public primary schools were created by the states to reinforce obedience among the masses, maintain social order, rather than to serve as a tool for upward social mobility. All right, this was what the school system was designed to do. All right, to reinforce obedience among the masses, maintain social order, rather than serve as a tool for upward social mobility. The goal was to make the bulk of the population compliant servants rather than individuals who think for themselves. All right, the goal of the public school system was to make the bulk of the population compliant servants. All right, this is what it's designed to do. All right, quote by Horace Mann. Horace Mann is known as the father of modern education. He was quoted as saying jails and prisons are the complement of schools. All right, these people make compliant servants out of us and get us ready for the prison industrial complex. All right, school to prison pipeline. Policies that encourage police presence at schools, harsh tactics, including physical restraint and automatic punishments that result in suspension and out of class time are huge contributors to this school to prison pipeline. Who's in it? Students from two groups, racial minorities and children with disabilities, are disproportionately represented at the school to prison pipeline. Black students, for instance, are 3.5 times more likely than their white classmates to be suspended or expelled. All right, black students are 3.5 times more likely to be suspended or expelled than white classmates. You still don't believe that racism exists? All right, black children constitute 18% of the students, but they account for 46% of those who have been suspended more than once. All right, let that sink in. Black children constitute 18% of students, but account for 46% of those suspended more than once. All right, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, the number of school resources officers rose 38% between 1997 and 2007. All right, Jerry Katzenman, SPLC Deputy Legal Director, said that surge in police on campus has helped criminalize many students. All right, just the idea of having police on campus has helped to criminalize students. All right, 2005 study found that children are far more likely to be arrested at school than they were a generation ago. Now think about it. You have feminism being introduced. All right, Salaki. You have the war on poverty being introduced immediately after integration and the Civil Rights Bill. You have the no man in the house rule that destroys the black household. Immediately following, you have feminism being introduced to black women by a CIA agent named Gloria Steinem. Then you have the crack epidemic of the 80s. We're going to talk about that in a minute. All right, and now we have students being arrested, more likely to be arrested at school than they were a generation ago. All right, in most cases, the students are simply being disruptive. And a recent U.S. Department of Education study found that 70% of students arrested in school-related incidents are referred to law enforcement are black or Hispanic. 70% of the students arrested at school are black or Hispanic. This is what this system is doing to our babies. All right, this is what this system is doing to our children. And it's being done on purpose. All right, zero tolerance policies, which set a one-size-fits-all punishment for a variety of behaviors, have fed these trends. Now, we talked about the civil rights era. All right, it says since 1965, it's been illegal to discriminate based on race. Now, the only class of people that the U.S. can legally discriminate against, now the only class of people that the U.S. can legally discriminate against is the convicted felon. It's no coincidence that since Jim Crow has been abolished, there has been a 700% increase in the prison population. All right, it could be no coincidence that since Jim Crow has been abolished, there's been a 700% increase in the prison population. People, this is by design and by design only. The U.S. criminal justice system is being used as a contemporary system of racial control, even as it adheres to the principles of colorblindness. All right, the U.S. criminal system of justice is being used as a contemporary system of racial control. The United States has not ended the use of a racial caste. Instead, it has merely redesigned it by targeting black men through the war on drugs. So we just talked about the war on poverty. The war on poverty destroyed the household by kicking the men out of the house. All right. The feminist movement attacked the women. The school system attacks our children. And we finna read about the war on drugs that attacked the men. All right, the mass imprisonment of poor and minorities has exposed the racial bias by American politicians and black leaders, respectively. The basic structure of legalized discrimination in today's society hasn't changed, but instead the language of the law used to justify it has. In today's era of colorblindness, race is no longer used to justify discrimination, exclusion, and social contempt. Instead, officials use the criminal justice system to label persons of color as criminals, and then use this label to continue to use old forms of discrimination in employment, housing, and the right to vote. Remember, I said earlier that these people project their inferiorities on us. These people project their criminality on us. And they said, look, since 1965, we can't legally discriminate on the basis of race. So we're going to label these people as criminals and continue to use old forms of discrimination. All right, this is nothing but Jim Crow all over again. All right, these practices also include denial of food stamps and other public benefits. We just read earlier how women were being denied assistance if they had a man in the home. And this was the whole point of destroying the household. All right, feminism attacked the women. The school system is attacking our children. And the war on drugs we're going to talk about attacked the men. All right, 86 Anti-Drug Abuse Act. Created 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act created a significant disparity in the sentences imposed for crimes involving powder cocaine versus crack cocaine with the ratio of 100 to 1. Meaning, a drug crime involving 5 grams of crack resulted in a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years in federal prison, while crimes involving 500 grams of powder received the same sentence. All right, 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, ratio of 100 to 1, 5 grams of crack got 5 years in prison, while 500 grams of powder got the same sentence. Now, here's what it did. The number of black people sent to federal prison skyrocketed. All right, the number of black people sent to prison skyrocketed from 50 in 100,000 adults to 250 in 100,000 adults. During that same period of mass increase in black prison rates, there was no change in the number of white people incarcerated in federal prison. All right, this is done by design. This is how these people project their inferiority on us and project their criminality on us. Remember, we read this earlier, that white people in America today are descended from convicted criminals shipped from Great Britain to the 13 colonies to be used as indentured servants. All right, these people are the real criminals, and we finna prove it. All right, this led to an increased disparity in prison sentencing lengths between the races. Prior to the enactment of the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, black people received sentences for drug-related crimes which were 11% longer than sentences received by whites who committed the same crime. This increased to 49% in the following years. So since 1986, black men received 49% longer sentences than white men did for the same crime. This disparity led to further racial and class imbalances where minorities faced harsher punishments for the use and sale of virtually the same drug as their affluent white counterparts. Now, what makes it even worse is that the U.S. brought the crack in. All right, the U.S. brought the crack in. Brought the crack into our neighborhoods. We finna prove it. The U.S. brought the crack into our neighborhoods and then gave us 100 to 1 sentencing rates for it. 100 to 1 ratio, crack cocaine to powder cocaine. All right, allegations surfaced that Contra forces organized by the CIA to overthrow the Sandinista government in Nicaragua were consorting with drug smugglers with the knowledge of U.S. officials. All right, Contra forces organized by the CIA to overthrow the government in Nicaragua were consorting with drug smugglers with the knowledge of U.S. officials. Associated Press broke the first such story, December 20th, 1985. The AP's Robert Peary and Brian Barger reported that 3 Contra groups have engaged in cocaine trafficking, in part to help finance their war against Nicaragua. The story focused on what he identified as the distribution network and its target, the inner cities of California, particularly among African-American communities devastated by the surge of crack and desperate for information and answers. Millions of black lives have been ruined, and America's jails and prisons are now clogged with young black Americans because of a cynical plot by a CIA that historically has operated in contempt of the law. The CIA brought crack to inner cities in California to fund their wars against Nicaragua. All right, this is how these people have systematically destroyed our women, our men, and our children. All right, feminism was used to attack the women. The school system is used to attack our children. And truth in sentencing laws that were the result of the Anti-Drug Abuse Act was used to destroy our men. After the CIA brought the crack in the neighborhoods, the CIA brought the crack in the neighborhoods and then gave us 100-to-1 ratio sentence. All right, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Y'all. Let's walk. All right, in California, black people make up 6% of the population, but make up 29% of the prison population. Hispanics make up 39% of California, but 43% of the prison population. This is simply because there is a higher rate of policing in black and brown communities. All right, 94 crime bill created new criminal sentences and incentivized states to build more prisons and pass truth in sentencing laws. It created the problem of mass incarceration, a term used to describe the fact that the United States incarcerates more of its people disproportionately black than any other nation in the world. The United States incarcerates more of its people disproportionately black than any other nation in the world. All right, 94 crime bill. Now, this is what we always see right here. All right, these crime statistics. All right, and they always like to point to the fact that black people only make up 14% of the population, but 50% of the murders. All right, but what's not being told is that these crime stats, these are just arrests. All right, these crime stats have nothing to do with convictions. All right, these are simply just arrests. So when you see this, just understand that it's a white supremacist talking point. All right, this is nothing but a white supremacist talking point. All this is are arrests. All right, has nothing to do with convictions. All right, but wrongful convictions disproportionately affect black Americans. All right, black people represent 14% of the population, but account for 53% of all people in this country who were falsely convicted of a serious crime and then freed after serving at least part of their sentence. All right, 53% of all people in this country who were falsely convicted of a serious crime. All right, this is the truth. This is what these white supremacists will never tell. All right, black people make up 53% of all people who are falsely convicted for a serious crime. All right, black Americans are 7 times more likely than white people to be wrongfully convicted of 3 major crimes: homicide, sexual assault, and drug offenses. All right, black people are 7 times more likely than white people to be wrongfully convicted of homicide, sexual assault, and drug offenses. Black people are 19 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of a drug offense. All right, this is the truth about these crime statistics. All right, black Americans are 7 times more likely than white Americans to be wrongfully convicted of homicide, sexual assault, and drug offenses. Black people are 19 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of a drug crime. And this is what happened. All right, blacks and Hispanics only made up 31% of the prison population in 1950. And in 2000, blacks and Hispanics were 62% of the prison population. All right, this is what these people have done to us. These people have projected their inferiority and their criminality onto us. But here's the truth. Now we're talking about an offender. All right, now we're talking about an offender. This is somebody that's been convicted. All right, number of murder offenders in the United States by race. Look, 2023, 8,842 white. All right, white people are the number one murderers, number one convicted murderers as of 2023. And we just read that black people are 7 times more likely than white people to be falsely convicted of murder. But even with that in mind, white people are still the number one murderers 2023. Now let's look at the number one murder victim in the United States as of 2023. All right. We just read that white people were the number one murderers and black people are the number one murder victim at 9,284. All right. This is the truth about these crime statistics. All right. Tonight's class is who are the real criminals and the truth about crime statistics. Now let's go further. Number of people killed by the police in the United States from 2017 to 2025. As of March, 13,479 people were killed by police in the United States in 2025. The rate of U.S. police killings has been much higher among Black Americans compared to other racial or ethnic groups. All right, this is the truth about these crime statistics. All right, the rate of U.S. police killings has been much higher among Black Americans compared to any other racial or ethnic group. All right, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, police believe the slaying of 2 black men were racially motivated and said Sunday they have a suspect, a 23-year-old white man, in custody. The suspect, Kenneth Gleason, was being held on drug charges. Authorities didn't yet have enough evidence to charge him with murder, said Sergeant McKinley, a Baton Rouge police spokesman. All right, residents of New York State Capitol, others question the death of black man found hanging from a tree. Now, this was just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago in Albany, New York, a black man was found hanging from a tree. In New York, 2 weeks ago, a black man was found hanging from a tree. And they tried to say that it was suicide. So you mean to tell me that this 50-something-year-old black man scaled a tree, right? Scaled up a tree, walked down the branch, and hung himself? This is what these people want us to believe. No different than they want us to believe that George Floyd died from a drug overdose, when we all watched Derek Chauvin put a knee on this man's neck. They want us to believe that we're crazy and we shouldn't believe what our eyes tell us. And we saw Derek Chauvin put a knee on this man's neck. But they want to tell us that George Floyd died from a drug overdose. The same way with this man that was found hanging from a tree in Albany, New York 2 weeks ago. They want us to believe that a 58-year-old man climbed a tree that's wide as his arms, shimmied up the damn tree, walked down a branch, and hung himself? Because there was no ladder. There was no chair that he could have kicked out from under himself. They found none of that. But they want us to believe, they want us to play crazy and act like we don't see what our eyes are showing us. That we shouldn't believe what our eyes are showing us. Let's walk. All right. Police in Albany, New York, the state capital, were called on the morning of Wednesday, June 11th, to a downtown intersection to find a black man hanging from a tree. As early as the same day, the Albany Police Department said in a statement, based upon preliminary investigation, the circumstances appear to be consistent with suicide and no evidence to suggest that the incident is criminal in nature. Again, these people want us to not believe what our own eyes are showing us. But people who live in Albany and others around the country who have learned of the incident are saying it has disturbing similarities to a lynching. Albany, a city of a little more than 100,000 people, 150 miles north of New York City, half white, quarter black, 8% Asian. It is perhaps most well known in recent years, the city where former Governor Andrew Cuomo broadcasts many of his daily pandemic reports, seen nationwide. But local residents are bringing up a darker side of the city, saying racism exists in Albany too. Of course, racism and a belief in white supremacy exists in New York too. All right. The issue of white supremacy is a global problem. All right. The belief in white supremacy is a global problem. Despite public support, questions remain, and police and Smith supporters do not agree on what happened. June 23rd, Albany police doubled down on their statement that foul play did not play in the role. Following a thorough investigation and based on the findings of the medical examiner's office, the death has been ruled as a suicide. There is no evidence to indicate that any criminal activity was involved, the statement read. But like I said, this man was like 58 years old. All right. The tree was about as big as an arm span. And they expect us to believe this man climbed up this tree with no ladder. He walked down the branch and just hung himself off the branch. Like I said, there was nothing found under him that he could have kicked his foot out from under to hang himself with. But these people want us not to believe our own eyes. These people want us to play crazy and make us not believe what our own eyes are showing us. All right. The National Memorial for Peace and Justice, established in 2018, is a testament to nearly 4,400 verified lynchings between the years of 1877 and 1950. 4,400 verified lynchings between 1887 and 1950. The organization, part of the Equal Justice Initiative headed by Brian Stevenson, describes lynching as a form of racial terror. All right, Serena Joyce Whitelake, a Black attorney and adjunct professor at Albany Law School, echoes the sentiment of many people in the area, in the Albany metropolitan area, about Smith's death. The police say their investigation is complete, but I think the public deserves to know just what steps were taken in the investigation. And there needs to be a press conference. You can't ignore that these are special circumstances. Again, these people want us to believe that we shouldn't believe what our own eyes tell us. All right. People that do this should never be the moral authority on anything. People that would do this should never be the moral authority on anything. Again, these people project their inferiorities onto us and project their criminalities onto us. All right. People that do this should never be the moral authority on anything and should never be trusted to do an investigation on anything like this. All right. There needs to be an independent study done. We should never trust people who have a history of doing this to say, oh, this is just a suicide. All right. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right. Deaths in police custody. We summarize studies that look at deaths in police custody from multiple angles, including restraint methods and police force demographics. The deaths of Black men at the hands of white police officers in recent years have raised a number of questions about the treatment of racial minorities within the criminal justice system, as well as about patterns of arrest-related deaths more generally. For years, legislators, community leaders, and others have wanted to know how many Black Americans have died while being apprehended, arrested, or transported by law enforcement. And how does that number compare with the number of men and women of other races killed each year in police custody? All right, a newer study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science in 2019 estimates that Black men have a 1 in 1,000 chance of being killed by police during their lifetimes. That's 2.5 times the odd of a white man. All right, a black man is 2.5 times more likely than a white man to be murdered by the police. And this is why we should never trust the police department to do their own investigation on that black man that was hanging from a tree in Albany, New York, 2 weeks ago in 2015. All right, Kyle Rittenhouse. Y'all remember the white boy? Y'all remember the white boy that went on a shooting rampage? All right, Kyle Rittenhouse's not guilty verdict. All right, 27 hours after deliberation over the course of 4 days, the jury declared Kyle Rittenhouse as not guilty on the 5 charges he faced after fatally shooting 2 people and wounding a third during a night of unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. All right, this man, he was found not guilty on 5 charges after fatally shooting 2 people and wounding a third. Even though he went down there to start trouble. They said it was self-defense. He killed 2 people and wounded a third. And he was found not guilty based on self-defense. All right, this is having the right complexion for the connection. All right, it says Rittenhouse trembled as the verdict was read, count by count, then collapsed in sighs. There were times we doubted the case. There were times when we were confident, said Mark Richards, Rittenhouse's lead defense attorney, speaking to reporters outside the courthouse after the verdict was read. Rittenhouse faced 5 felony counts after he shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum, 36, Anthony Huber, 26, and Wilmy Gage, 26. The most serious charge, first-degree intentional homicide, carried a First-degree intentional homicide carried a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Now, on the other hand, we have Carmelo Anthony, that these people want to throw the book at. Indicted for murder and the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. All right, Carmelo Anthony, now 18-year-old, accused of fatally stabbing another teen during an altercation at Frisco ISD track meet in early April, was indicted for murder by a Collin County grand jury on Tuesday. Anthony, who was 17 at the time of the incident, was arrested on April 2nd in connection with the stabbing death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a track meet in Kuykendall Stadium. The teen, who was facing first-degree murder charge, has been on house arrest since being released on a reduced bond April 14th. If convicted, Anthony could face a possible sentence of 5 to 99 years or life in prison. In Texas, the criminal justice system, 17-year-olds are considered adults. All right. Kyle Rittenhouse, this should be easy. All right. If Kyle Rittenhouse got off for standing his ground, all right. If Kyle Rittenhouse gets off for protecting himself, then Carmelo Anthony should get off for protecting himself. All right. If Kyle Rittenhouse got off on self-defense, then Carmelo Anthony should be getting off on self-defense. But again, we know that it don't work that way. We know that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, so let's drop that. Let's drop that. Let's finish it up with the Bible. Let's finish it up with the Bible. Let's go to John 8:44. John 8:44. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father he will do. The lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. All right. You were of your father, the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning. When we're talking about the beginning, we're talking about the murder of Abel. All right. When Cain killed his brother Abel. All right. He was a murderer from the beginning. This is the murder that was in the beginning. All right. And the so-called white man, Esau in the Bible has the spirit of the serpent in the garden, and the spirit of Cain. All right. There is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. That's why we should never trust that investigation that was done in Albany, New York, when that black man was found hanging from a tree 2 weeks ago in 2025. There needs to be an independent investigation done. All right, because the so-called white man is a liar and the father of it. Again, they want us to not believe what our own eyes show us. They want us to believe that George Floyd died of a drug overdose when we saw with our own eyes when Derek Chauvin put his knee on his neck like that. All right, there needs to be an independent investigation done. So what happened to that black man who was found hanging from a tree in New York 2 weeks ago in 2025? Let's drop that. Let's go to Isaiah 42 and 22. Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for prey, and none delivereth, for spoil, and none saith restore. All right. This is a people robbed and spoiled. When it says spoiled, it means ruined. All right. Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, we have been robbed and spoiled in this place. All right. We are the thing that makes this run. All right. All the way back when the first slaves were brought in 1619, all the way up to the prison industrial complex in 2025. All right. We are what makes this place run. It says they are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. We read that from 1950 to 2000, the Black and Hispanic prison population rate went from 30% up to 62% from 1950 to 2000. All right. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. All right. Our enemy is not going to get us out of this. Our enemy benefits from this. All right. There would be no America. There would be no America without the subjugation of Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. All right, let's drop that. Let's go to Revelation 2 and 10. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. The Bible says the devil are going to throw some of you into prison. Now, according to the Christian church and Greek mythology and Dante's Inferno, the devil is some man with a pitchfork that's under the ground somewhere that's going to torture people for 1,000 years or whatever. All right. But the Bible says the devil is going to cast some of you into prison. All right. The devil is the police that harassed you and threw you in the back of that cruiser. All right. The devil is the judge that handed out 5 years on a first offense. All right. The devil is the prosecuting attorney. All right. The devil is that police chief in Albany, New York, that said that black man found hanging from a tree was a suicide. All right. This is the devil that the Bible is speaking of. All right. This is the devil that the Bible is speaking of. But the Bible says, be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right. The Bible says, he that endures until the end, the same shall be saved. All right. He that endures until the end, the same shall be saved. All right. This isn't going to last forever. All right. The white man is being propped up. Just the Lord can show his power to bring him back down again. All right. Be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right. We'll drop that last scripture Last scripture, Acts 5:30. For the God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. All right, Acts 50:30. Acts 50:30. The God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. All right, the greatest black man to ever live. All right, the greatest black man to ever walk the face of this earth was hanged on a tree. All right, the greatest black man to ever walk the face of this earth was hanged on a tree. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and end it. All right, I want to appreciate y'all. All right, for hanging out with me, man. Soaking up some of this game. All right, every Monday, Lord willing, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday night history class, Officer of 1000, Howard Moore, ISUPK, Kentucky, under Commander General Hunter. All right, every Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m., Brotherhood class taught by Officer of 1000, I'm a Wonga boy. And Wednesday night, Cry Out, Spirit Not podcast, hosted by Officer of 1000, I'm a Wonga boy, and ISUPK. All right, with that, we'll do one courtesy salute. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham Yahweh Shemal Atham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. With that, class is dismissed.
I on the table.
I ain't finna tell you how I got away with this shit.
If I'm more right, that's good business. She look good, but hang with dumb bitches. Tell her I'm way too fly for one sister. And then she leave a priest, I won't put a ring around it. Oh, no. Bitches for the street like basketball goals. I always knew she'd let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple. Bitch, now I ain't gonna work it out. I ain't regular out. No, I ain't gonna work it out. I ain't regular out. You a civilian out. Nah, failure out. I ain't gonna work it out. Cause I ain't regular out. I ain't regular out. You's a regular out. Took that bitch back. And she done fed you out. Look how you living out. You look scary out. Can't fuck that bitch right. Cause she be getting nailed out. You won't forgive her, ain't it? You wanna love her, don't you? Just know that love ain't for you. It's for the world, homie. I got some real homies. We don't pretend, homie. ISUPK, 1 West, we kicking field goals. Let that bitch lead, ho. She got them D's, though. With a little steak and ass pussy, she be going beast mode. She HIV, ho. You a dirty ass skeet, ho. Gon' get that shit up out your chest, bitch. Say what you gonna do now, what you gonna say now, what you gonna do to me? It is UPK, I'm shot too deep, it's better Google me. I put these girls all in my training camp like I relieve. I say what I do and I do what I say, bitch, what the fuck you mean? If I'm more right, that's good business. She look good, but hang with dumb bitches. Tell her I'm way too fly for one sister. And if she leave a priest, I won't miss her. Won't put a ring around it. Oh, no. Bitches for the street like basketball goals. I always knew she'd let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple. Bitch, now I ain't gonna work it out. I ain't regular out. No, I ain't gonna work it out. I ain't regular out. You a civilian out. Nah, failure out. I ain't gonna work it out. Cause I ain't regular out. I get paper, bro. Got my standards up. You a munchkin out. Catching these out. Check my favorite out. I'm a player out. These niggas top block. Took your lead out. You shouldn't be worried about these broke ass bitches. And don't compare yourself to simp ass niggas. Had to shine a lot of these desperate ass women. Cause they be tripping hard, acting like they different. But a bit be basic, bit be horn and bit be naked. Drinking, faking, stinking, the shame is dirty. Mouth bit be vaping. I don't get too fucks about you. I wouldn't have put no baby in you. Bit be saying they got that paper, look, that let me itch. Done caught the penalty and my energy got me feeling me. Ice hitting on them, these diamond teeth that's into me. And I'm getting right and I'm stacking up and I'm getting to it. And these niggas hate but they can't touch cause I'm bulletproof. If I'm more right, that's good business. She look good but hang with dumb shit, let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple. Bitch, nah, I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular, no, I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular, you civilian, nah, failure, I ain't gon' work it out.